In today's video, we'll look at how the penny has transformed over the years, the surprising amount of pennies still circulating in the economy, and the fascinating history behind this little coin that most of us often overlook. So, grab your pennies and let's explore the past, present, and potential future of the 1-cent coin. To understand the penny's rich history, we have to start at the beginning. It all began in the 1790s, when the United States was a fledgling nation, still finding its way in the world of currency. At the time, the US didn't have its own official currency, and the country relied heavily on foreign coins, mostly from Spain and Britain. In 1792, the US Congress passed the Coinage Act of 1792, which officially created the US Mint and authorized the creation of a national coinage system. Among the first coins authorized were the silver half-dollars, dimes, and of course, the 1-cent coin. The goal was to standardize the nation's currency and help stimulate the economy. The first 1-cent coin struck by the U.S. Mint in 1793 was known as the chain cent. This early design featured a chain of links symbolizing the unity of the 13 original colonies. On the obverse side, Lady Liberty was depicted in profile, wearing a Phrygian cap, which represented freedom. But this design was short-lived. After just 1 year, the public criticized the chain motif, calling it too complex and difficult to interpret. Over the years, the design of the penny would evolve, reflecting the changing times and ideas about what the nation stood for. In 1796, the wreath cent replaced the chain cent. This design was simpler and featured Lady Liberty surrounded by a wreath of laurel leaves, a symbol of honor and victory. In 1837, the U.S. Mint introduced the Liberty Head cent. This coin featured a bust of Lady Liberty, and the design was used until the mid-1850s. The penny was larger and made of copper, making it more valuable than earlier versions, and it reflected the nation's growth during the early days of industrialization. In 1859, the U.S. Mint introduced one of the most iconic penny designs, the Indian head cent. The coin featured a profile of Lady Liberty wearing a Native American headdress. While controversial in its depiction, this design lasted until 1909, making it one of the longest-running penny designs in history. But perhaps the most famous penny of all is the Lincoln cent, introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin features a profile of Lincoln on the obverse and 2 ears of wheat on the reverse, symbolizing America's agricultural roots. The Lincoln cent has undergone a few changes over the years. In 1959, the reverse design was updated to feature the Lincoln Memorial to commemorate the 16th president's legacy. This design stayed in place for almost 50 years before the reverse was changed again in 2009 to mark Lincoln's 200th birthday. So, how much is the penny worth today? The short answer is not much. With inflation over the years, the purchasing power of the penny has steadily diminished. In fact, in 1909, a penny could buy you a loaf of bread, but today, you'd be lucky to get a single piece of gum for a penny. Despite its diminished value, the penny still plays a role in daily transactions. But there's a catch: it costs the U.S. Mint more to produce a penny than it is worth. In fact, it costs about 2.1 cents to make each penny, a significant loss to the U.S. Treasury. Despite its cost, there are more than 150 billion pennies currently in circulation in the United States. That's a lot of pocket change. The penny still circulates widely, but many wonder how long it can continue to be produced when it costs more to make than it's worth. But here's the exciting part. While most pennies aren't worth much, there are a select few that are worth far more than their face value. Some rare pennies can fetch thousands, or even millions, of dollars at auction. Take the 1943 copper penny, for example. During World War II, the U.S. Mint switched from copper to steel to conserve resources for the war effort. However, a small number of copper pennies were accidentally struck that year. These rare pennies can now be worth more than $1 million each. Another famous and valuable penny is the 1909 SVDB Lincoln cent. Only around 484,000 of these coins were minted, and the designer's initials, VDB, were removed after complaints. Today, A well-preserved version of this penny can fetch anywhere from several thousand to tens of thousands of dollars, depending on its condition. So, what's next for the penny? With the rise of digital payments, smartphones, and contactless cards, many believe the penny has outlived its usefulness. Some countries, like Canada and Australia, have already eliminated their smallest denominations. And the question is, should the US do the same? While the penny may not have much value in today's economy, it still holds a significant place in American culture and history. Whether we continue to mint them or eventually retire the 1-cent coin, the penny's legacy is sure to remain a lasting part of the country's financial story.